I am your brother in Christ, and welcome back. So, today we'll be talking about overcoming hardships, why we have them. Um, but before we dive into that, I have a shameless plug to do, actually, a couple of them. But hey, let's just go ahead and get started on it so that we can get this through and get to the more interesting parts of this video. So, first of all, I have started up a new newsletter. So, I've got my official newsletter there. It is the information on how to join is underneath in the description. You just need to email me at Lord's Crusader. And, hey, welcome. Asking key questions. Hey, I love that symbol. That is flipping fantastic. That is great. He was on, this gentleman that was on our last live stream. He's part of the Apologetic Empire Discord server. He's got some awesome content coming up. I'm probably going to ask him to come back on quite a bit because he's got some really cool insights. And even after the stream, as we were sitting there talking, I learned more about myself just sitting there talking with him than I have in a while. So he does understands a lot of the psychiatry stuff and all that mumble jumbo that goes over my head. But he was nailing it and really impressed snot out of me. So in order to get the newsletter, like I was saying, you got to email lordscrusader@gmail.com. Then I send this out. I'm not sure if I'll do it weekly, if I'll do it monthly. It's just one time, but it'll keep you up to date on what's going on. And if I get canceled off YouTube, which might be coming, we don't know. We're always preparing, but this will keep us in contact. So I give you our weekly meme. These are memes that I've been doing that seem to get the most replies. So I go ahead and throw that in there as our meme of the week. We got our last couple of live streams in case you guys missed it. Quick links to go there and what is coming up. This is keeping you up to date on what live streams I'm coming up with. And if you reply to this email with any ideas, any suggestions, I, of course, want to hear whatever your guys' thoughts are. So we've got, well, obviously our overcoming hardship, which we are currently doing. And then we've got this Tuesday, we'll be talking about The Walking Dead social media. Yes, we'll be dealing with alternative medias, looking into some of the best ones, the leaders in that. What would be the pitfalls to expect? The issues with that, may even touch on cryptocurrency. Oh, the big bad cryptocurrency. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one. Again, that one will be open to the entire Discord server. So we have no clue who's going to join in and we have no clue how this is going to go, but we'll give it a shot and see what ideas we can come up with since we are being canceled on every platform. Also coming up, we've got masks, vaccine, and COVID. Well, COVID and the new order. New normal. I mean, new normal, not new order. I didn't say new order. I so totally did. And then we've got the book giveaway, which I'm looking forward to doing, but there's been some snags that we need to overcome. So I'm hoping to have that one out, but I'm not sure yet. So that's the lineup for our live streams. And of course, my wife is still doing her fundraiser. Yes, I don't think I put the link in the description. Again, I know I'm a bad husband. But there's the link, is on the newsletter to help donate for pro-life. And again, that is going to, some of it's going to our ministry. The other portion is going to be going to a local help center for women who are dealing with either single moms, just dealing with being a mom the first time. They really assist in those sort of areas and have been great. And then underneath that is, of course, a weekly update on Little Boy's journey with a little tag and a couple of pictures, which is always so cute to see how he is preparing. He is preparing to be a big brother, and he is making sure that medically he is sound with his stethoscope and checking to see if the baby doll has had all of her shots. Yes, we are making sure the baby doll is well taken care of. So that is the newsletter. Again, you guys can get that if you send an email to lordscrusader@gmail.com. Eventually, I would love to launch a website which would have an automatic addition for you guys. Just enter in your information and automatically get entered into our newsletter, but that has not yet come to pass. So that's coming up, and we've got some major changes coming up that will be in that newsletter, and you guys will see it after that if you're not part of that newsletter, but it will be rather cool. So, and that normally goes out on Tuesday. No, Saturdays is one I picked. I don't know. One of those two. It's one of those two. Okay, so diving into dealing with hardship. Let's be honest, this is not something that's really well, and I kind of plugged this at the on Tuesday's last stream. I really plugged this video that we would be doing and covering. So the hardships. I mean, I'm a Christian, right? I love God. God loves me. He does, God does good for those who love him, right? So obviously, if he's doing good, then hey, we should be fine, right? Well, that doesn't mean you're going to have an easy life. In fact, we'll see that in the scriptures. But before we go down, hey, welcome. Another one of our brothers from the Apologetic Empire. Fantastic to see you again, brother. Okay. So we diving into scripture, we see many verses where God's describing that we'll have to deal with hardships. Here in John, we see, if the world hates you, keep in mind it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. John 15, 18 through 19. Oh my goodness. I hope I'm going to get this run right. Okay. So Jesus very plain to his disciples and his followers, hey, the world's going to hate you. And if the world loves you, if you're being completely accepted by social media and you're being completely accepted by the culture and everything's hunky-dory, I would severely question what you're doing. If you're just going along with the status quo and everyone accepts you and everyone loves you and it's all fantastic, I would question your walk with Christ, not as being critical or judgmental upon you, but really wondering, are you really walking with Christ? I'd encourage you to double check that, because again, the world hates Christ, and Christ taught a lot of things that is contrary to our normal human desires, our normal human nature. I mean, love those who persecute you, pray for those who persecute you. Those sort of teachings were very contrary to what most people wanted. And even in the Old Testament, the eye for an eye was a limiting factor on what humanity really wants, because if someone had done something wrong to you, you want to take revenge, and it was a limiting factor in order to try to limit human, meanness to one another, human desire to take revenge at every opportunity. So continuing on, this is found in Matthew. Then Jesus said to his disciples, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whomever wants to save their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for me will find it. Matthew 16, 24 through 25. Again, we see in this concept of being sacrifice, laying it down, putting down your own desires, your own wants in order to pursue Christ. And again, that's not going to be easy. That is, by definition, going to be hard. I mean, it's describing taking up your cross, which again would imply that you are being sacrificed. You are going through a crucifixion in a way, that you're taking up that calling in order to follow Christ. So now this is, man, this is depressing. It really is. The concept of going through a hard time is every one of us really has done in the past and will continue to do, is go through hardships like this. And you know what? Looking back, and you can do this too, any of us can, looking back at some of the hardships that we've overcome, you know what? When I was a kid, it was like the hardest thing ever. In fact, I remember back, and I'm still kind of a little embarrassed about this, that I acted so childish. But then again, I was really young at the time. I was like 6. So I got a candy bar, and I don't get very many candy bars. It was really cool. I had a Kit Kat candy bar, and my dad ended up eating it. And I was really upset. That was horrible. That was the worst thing I ever had to go through. It was horrible. And I'm like, looking back at it, I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed. Looking back now at the hardships that I've had to overcome, and God has seen me through my first marriage, hardships with the family, money issues, all these other things, I look back and say, wow, that was kind of pathetic. But at that point, that's all. I was very simple-minded. My world was very simple. There wasn't a lot. I couldn't understand the hardships I would have to face. And in order to overcome that one, felt like a huge task. And again, throughout my life, we see hardship after hardship after hardship, even in your guys' lives, that you've overcome. And now looking back, you know what? As I said in my live stream about time travel, I wouldn't change it, because those hardships have made me who I am. And if I go back and alter that, I have no guarantee that I would have learned the same lesson. So I would not have changed any of my hardships. They weren't fun. They were hard. Definitely, if you're going through an issue right now, like you lost your job, you're struggling, God will see you through that. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be hard. But in the end, we know that it will be for our good. It will be for our benefit. And if we persevere, we will be better off for it. As Proverbs says, blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive a crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. Actually, that wasn't Proverbs, that's James 1:12. So the next one was Proverbs. That was my issue. All right, next slide was Proverbs. I was jumping the gun. The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. That's Proverbs 18:10. And in the same way, looking at Proverbs, actually, even that verse itself doesn't say that it's going to be easy. Doesn't say that it's going to be simple. Even when you're safe, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be going through easy times. No, and what is the fortified tower? Well, the Lord's name. Holding on to the Lord. Holding on to that relationship with him, who you know as your master and who you know as your creator. That's what you've got to hold on to even tighter as the storms around you continue. Going back to James, just think of blessed are the, just think of that, blessed is the one who perseveres under trial. That concept there, the very concept that you're blessed because you went through hard times. You're blessed because you stood fast and was able to withstand that hardship and held on to the Lord. That is a concept rare in religion, actually. We don't see God blessing those who persevere under trial. in Islam. We don't. We see a God who is fickle, who will bless those who kill in his name. But in Christianity, we see blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. I mean, that's a promise of what they will inherit. And the meek, those who have the power, yet choose to control it, who use it in righteous ways, but don't need to bluster and boast. So going through hardships and talking about my last marriage, as you know, I've been divorced and remarried, and I am married to a wonderful wife who is fantastic, who's actually asleep right now, so I have to be quiet. But she took a little boy up so I could do this live stream and be able to talk with you guys and engage with you guys. But my first marriage was very abusive. And it was a very abusive relationship, physically, emotionally. It lasted about 4 months, really did, the marriage itself, before she left. But then she chose to leave in the end. But that was a hard time, and that spent me quite a long time afterwards being able to recover from that abuse, being able to recover and really be able to stand back up. It took me about a year before I came to terms with what actually happened. I didn't know until much later that it was actually abuse, because again, if you're in an abusive relationship, a lot of times you blame yourself, and that's exactly what I did. I blamed myself. So I would blame myself. I'd say, okay, there's got to be something wrong with me. I've got to be failing in some way. I just don't understand what I'm doing that is messing up this relationship. Found out much later on that basically I was the only one building a relationship. She was kind of tearing it down on the other end. But I blame myself. I blame myself for the abuse. I blame myself for what she was doing, because I deserved it and I must have messed up somehow, and I've got to make sure that I've got to fix it and make it right. But going through that, again, I'm not going to lie, it sucked. It really sucked. It was a horrible experience. But again, if I could undo it, I wouldn't. Because through that hardship, I learned many hard lessons that I needed to learn in order to become who I am, in order to be able to start this ministry, in order to be able to start doing live streams, in order to be able to become the man you guys see today, to become the father I needed to be, to become the husband that I needed to be. I had to go through some pretty rough lessons. And again, just as steel sharpens steel. I mean, if you've ever used a whetstone to sharpen a knife, and I've used plenty because I was scoutmaster for many, many years, an assistant scoutmaster for many, many years. And I teach the boys how to sharpen their knives, how to keep good, how to keep the axe in good condition, how to protect it from wear and tear and damage that could occur. So, but you're taking a stone and grinding that metal in order to sharpen it. And if you've ever tried to cut with a blunt blade, it is horrendous. It is terrible to try to cut with it. It's to the point of almost being useless. I've had some pretty blunt blades that I've tried to use to cut bread, and at the end I just said forget it. I ripped it apart because it was much easier to rip it than it was to cut it. But through that sharpening process that we have to go through, we become better through it. We become better children of God. We become better men and women. We're able to handle more and be able to take on more and be useful to the Lord. Where if we chose the easy route all the time, we would not be able to become the men and women of God that He needs us to be. And that gives us the opportunity, going through those harshness and getting the sharpness and all the rubbing and all the grinding and all the times that we cry ourselves to sleep, let's be honest, even that times, and I've done that quite a few times. It's all worth it in the end, because we get the opportunity to partner with the Lord and see what he is doing. Does he need us to partner with him? No, he's God. He doesn't need us at all. But he wants to partner with us. He wants us to be able to take part in that and join him. And in the end, we'll be able to look back and see, yeah, we went through this hardship, and that's where it grinded us, and that's where we were sharpened. And then we can see the changes that we've made. My wife and I, mostly my wife, worked on a video. I did a little snippet recording for it, but did a video for a friend of ours, Nate 2D2. Great guy, fantastic. He's one of the mods on this channel, and fantastic man of the Lord. But he's had to go through some hardships. He's had to go through some trials. He's had to be sharpened. And because he chose to stay with the Lord, and because he's chose to pursue that, he has made such changes in people's lives, even in the comment section, even just there to give advice, to be a friend, to give guidance. That is invaluable. And because of his choices, he's chose the Lord and to pursue him even through those hardships, he has been able to be part of many people's lives. And in the end, the tally that the Lord will do when we look back at our lives, we will see all of those lives that we have impacted for the Lord. And it will spread out like a spider web and just touch thousands of lives. And we have that opportunity. Absolutely. We love Nate. Absolutely. It is. We've got to go through this in order to build the character, in order to build our relationship. One of the trials I had to do and go through was being able just to rely on the Lord. Since I do contract-based work when I'm not doing live streams here, because let's be honest, the live streams don't make anything. So when I'm doing contract work, I have to rely on the Lord, because I don't know when my next paycheck's coming. I don't know that paycheck that I just got in last month is going to be enough to cover all of this month plus next month in order to make sure that I can get another job in and be able to cover everything. I don't, and I have to rely on the Lord. And it really is that I have very little control over when I'm getting my next paycheck. So that's something the Lord had to put me through in order for me to learn to rely on him nonstop. That I've got to trust in him and rely on his provisions above just my skill. So, and again, we'll be able to see those lives that we've touched through our ministries for the good and the bad. I mean, if we have made mistakes and we've messed up, and I've known, I know my list of failures. We will see the bad that we've done, but we will also see what the Lord has done for good, and it will be burned up. I've yet to go through, one of the videos I've yet to do and focus on is trials. When we go to, not trials, but when we go for judgment, the different levels of judgment that we will face as Christians. And there are multiple different levels of judgment that we will need to be facing. Yes, we get to enter into the kingdom of heaven, but what happens after that? There are other judgments that will happen. We will have to give an accounting for our actions. And if we choose the world 99% of the time and get in there and become saved just at the last possible second before we pass away, we will have a lot that we'll look back on and regret. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments section below. We're going to be going ahead and wrapping up. And I got an obvious baby distraction. I actually got one. I got one. I know I've been bad with them, but I actually have one. So we'll put that one in just a second. I do want to remind you that we do have the newsletter that I'll be sending out. Eventually, when we've got the website up and going, it'll probably be a combination website between my wife's ministry and my own ministry. And we will be able to keep in contact with you guys through that. I'm just preparing for when this all goes away. When my time here on YouTube goes away, when my time here on Discord goes away, I'm working on backups in order to continue pursuing the Lord with you guys and be able to contact you guys so we don't get separated. So I have got that cute baby distraction, and I've been bad recently about not adding them. And I know I love showing the little boy off and showing how he is developing and playing and getting ready. Again, that's part of the newsletter. So if you want that, just send me an email at lordscrusader@gmail.com. The email is in the description below. Let us go ahead and have some fun with little boy.